Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the online English learning class. Today we are going to take up the poem The Last Bargain by Rabindranath Tagore. We have already done the overview of this poem about the poet. Rabindranath Tagore, Gurudev, was a Bengali poet, writer, composer and painter. He was the first Indian to be awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913 for his work Gitanjali. Now, the poem begins like this. A man is calling out for work. He's a workman. You can see his picture on the slide, and he is walking on the road asking for work. He's carrying his tools in his hands. Come and hire me, I cried, while in the morning I was walking on the stone paved road. So the workman is crying, he's calling out for work. He wants somebody to hire him for work. Now, the king, he meets the first person who is the king passing by the road. Sword in hand, the king came in his chariot. He held my hand and said, I'll hire you with my power. So the first person this workman met was a king, and he was in his chariot. And he said to the workman that I am going to hire you with my power, because the king is very mighty and powerful. But his power counted for naught, and he went away in his chariot. But the workman did not work for the king, so his power was of no use, and the king went away in his chariot. Now the next person the workman meets is the rich old man. In the heat of the midday, the houses stood with shut doors. It was hot and midday, so people were taking rest, and the houses were shut. I wandered along the crooked road. The workman is wandering around the road, along the road, the crooked road. It's not straight. An old man came out with his bag of gold. This old man came out and he was carrying a bag of gold, lot of money. He pondered and said, pondered means thought. And after some time he said, I'll hire you with my money. I'm going to give you work with my money. He weighed his coins one by one, but I turned away. He started showing his coins one by one, but the workman did not allow himself to be worked with the greed of money. Now the fair maiden, the beautiful maiden. It was evening, the garden hedge all aflower. The fair maid came out and said, I'll hire you with a smile. Her smile paled and melted into tears, and she went back alone into the dark. So this beautiful maid in the evening came out, and the garden was all full of flowers. And she said to the workman that I am going to hire you with my beautiful smile, with my beauty. But the workman did not accept the work of to be worked under the fair maiden. So her smile, her beauty was of no use, and she went away in tears. Now the child. The sun glistened on the sand, and the sea waves broke waywardly. A child sat playing with the shells. So there was a small child who was sitting by the side of the sea waves, by the side of the beach, and the sea waves were coming onto the sea beach. And this child was very innocently playing with the shells. You can see in the picture, the child is playing very innocently. And from then henceforward, that bargain struck in child's play made me a free man. He raised his head and seemed to know me and said, I'll hire you with nothing. So the last bargain was acceptable to the workman. It was the child who said that I am going to hire you with nothing, no condition. And with a smile, he he invited the workman to work, and the workman also accepted to work because there was no condition, and the workman was making the child was making the workman a free man. So we are going to stop here today. Hope you all have understood the poem, and we are going to work on further on this poem in tomorrow's class. In the meantime, write down the important points in your English notebooks.